everybody. Happy Okuma Wednesday. What a great, beautiful day to be alive in the planet Earth. It is absolutely phenomenal because we are getting to see how filthy, scummy these people are that are going to make the decisions on when you and I get to fish. If you don't know what I'm talking about, gang, this meeting's been going on since 8 o'clock this morning. And it's for the first time ever, we have links to the meeting where you guys can all see what's going on and how filthy, dirty, scummy these people are that are running this thing and how they have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm not, once again, like I always say, you might not like it, but I only speak truth. And we got a lot of truth coming out today. This is being exposed like you can't even believe. We have a lot of our members watching this. If you have no idea what's going on, the meeting's live right now. You can jump on it right now. I think they're taking a lunch break, but you can go back and watch it this afternoon and see what I'm talking about, how filthy, dirty this whole process is. As you're watching the Doge, Elon Musk and Donald Trump exposing the filth and the lying and the cheating and the stealing, we're getting to see it firsthand right here on this show. The show about the California Fish and Wildlife or Fish and Game Commission. Those of you with a brain are going to understand immediately how filthy this is. My good friend Matt Ryan, my good friend Calico Chris, and myself have been on this since it started at 8 o'clock this morning. I've raised my hand 4 times. I've not been called on. Chris has raised his hand every single time. He's not been called on. Matt's raised his hand every time. He's not been called on. As you listen, the first part of the meeting this morning, we got to learn about the history of why we have Black History Month. I didn't know that's why I was logging on to a Fishing Game Commission meeting, but I got to learn about the Black History Month. I also got to learn about DEI and what it stands for and what it means. Another thing I didn't know I was logging on to the meeting about this morning. So if you don't understand what's going on, we talked about this. Bill Varney talked about it. I've talked about it 100 times. The thing about being involved with your saltwater guide and what's going on and how we talk about everything all the time and let you into the inner workings of this filth, sewage that's going on in California is, I'm not making it up. I told you all what goes on. And now we're all watching. And we're watching it, and it's just some of the most amazing things that you could possibly ever see in your lifetime. These are the people that decide if you and I and our grandkids can go outside and play. These are the people that are making the decisions, gang. It's time to stand up. That's what I've been telling everybody on this show every day. If you're not watching this and you're not just ready to vomit or rip your screen off or throw your phone out the window, then you may want to slow down whatever you got going on and listen carefully to the way these people talk. Because, like my good friend Matt said, they're not even listening to us when they talk. Well, besides that, they're not even allowing us to talk. There will be an epic amount of people on this tomorrow. And Bill Varney is going to come on here in just a second. He's afraid they may just rush this thing along and we won't even get a chance. I'm going to bring Bill in just a minute. But I wanted to take a few minutes here for a little monologue to kind of explain to everybody that if you've been watching my show at all over the last 7 years and listening to what I have to say, it is truth. I know a lot of people don't like to hear the truth and it pisses them off. Just like the people that are mad at Elon Musk right now. They're mad at the guy for exposing the filth and the thieving and the lying and the cheating. And they're mad at him instead of being mad at the lying and the cheating and the thieving. Same thing goes on here on this show. The people that are mad at me, all you got to do is watch what's going on at this Fish and Game Commission meeting. And you can see that I've never not told the truth. Everything I tell you is truth. We're going to bring Bill Varney and Captain Al Clowers in right now. Bill's been watching this thing all day, just like myself. I'm sure Bill's pissed. There's Captain Al Clowers. He's been taking care of business, so he's kind of missed out on the first part of this meeting this morning. But Bill, explain to everybody what may happen today. It could actually happen, which would really be pretty sad. I have a laundry list of notes. I'm going to be logged into 5 different platforms or 5 different units tomorrow. One of my names is your saltwater guide. My other name is David Keith. My other name is Keith Hansen. My other name is Dave Hansen. And my other name is YSWG. Gang, we have to play this game with these people. They're filthy. They're filthy, 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 lying, stealing people. Talk about this for 1 second, Bill. What time did the president of this commission show up today?
You know, the president of the commission looked like she rolled in about 2 hours after the meeting had started. So I thought that was interesting. They only have, I mean, I could count them up, but like 10 meetings a year. And I'm usually pretty much on time for stuff. So if I only had to go every once in a while, I'd always be on time. So I don't know what's going on there. But the other thing is, and you know, Dave, we talked about this before, where the syllabus of events, let's call it, is fluid. So things may go a little bit faster than expected. Things may go slower than expected. Things may be taken off the itinerary when it's unexpected. Today, and here we are basically at lunchtime for them. I can check in a minute here. That we're already through 16 items. Our item is 22 or 23. I can't remember which one it is. And I think at the end of the 16th item per their syllabus, it's the end of today. And we're already at noontime with still a half a day to go. So are we going to jump into the sand bass discussion today and miss all these people who think it's going to be tomorrow? I don't know. I guess we have to see after lunch.
Exactly. We don't know. But as we're watching, and Bill, you've been watching this thing, and Captain Al, congratulations on getting your chum tube into Fisherman's Landing, gang. That's a big deal. Fisherman's Landing Tackle. Doug, he went over there this morning. I'm so excited for you, Al. I can't contain myself. He went over and he showed the chum tube to Doug, the owner of Fisherman's Landing Tackle, and the co-owner, Rick. And what happened, Al?
Well, I went in there and I told him about what the chum tube was. He goes, "You got one with you?" I'm like, "I sure do." And I went and grabbed it, and he asked me questions and how it worked and what kind of fish I use it for, and checked it out, and then we went over the cost of it and all that stuff, and he gave me the money, and the first one's on the shelf. End of story. So we're going to see how it goes in the shop and go from there.
And everybody that's listening to the show that you're down in San Diego, you want to know what's going on with Captain Al's chum tube, all you got to do is go to Fisherman's Landing now and go in there and take a look at it. Right. It's like a viewing party over there, and then you just give Al a call and tell him you want one, and he'll get you one sent to you, or you stop by his house. Remember, if there's shipping involved, he's going to have to add a little bit of money, but if you can show up, you can get it directly from Al. And then also another cool thing is Captain Al will have a handful of them with him up at the PCS show. We're not selling stuff out of the booth, but if someone shows up and wants one, Al will take you out to his car and do a little backdoor dealing out there in the car. We're not selling stuff out of the booth. So I'm just letting you know there's ways around everything. And the reason I talk like that right now is because I'm watching this filthy, scummy operation going on this Fish and Game Commission meeting. And I'm sorry. I had no idea until we got a new president how filthy, scummy these people are that are all making money off of the backs of Bill and I and Al's, the money we pay in our taxes. That's where they're getting their pay from us. Yet they're going to stand up there and talk. From what I saw this morning, Bill, and I'm a 63-year-old man, they were talking down to me. They were explaining to me how the world works. These people have no idea how the world works, nor do they have the permission to explain to me how the world works. I came onto that to hear about what's going to happen today. We got to hear a lady who's been in opposition to all of us for a very, very long time with zero fishability, no understanding of the ocean. She had to and she's not even involved in any of the stuff today. She's going to be on there tomorrow making a horrible statement. But she started the meeting out this morning telling everybody how the MPAs work and how great they are for everything and how we need to close more of the ocean. And then she went on to tell us how dangerous it is to park in that parking lot. Bill, I was just blown. I'm just like, this is the most craziest world that we're living in right now. Wait a minute. We're talking about the ocean, but then you're telling me how dangerous it is to park in the gang. I'm just letting you know, I listen to everything because I want to make sure you all know what's going on and how filthy dirty this process is. It is filthy. It is filthy dirty. A good friend, Matt Ryan, he's afraid they've already made their decisions, but listen to me. You all need to be on this meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Okay? No, I couldn't get in there in time. I don't care if you're brushing your teeth at 8 o'clock or you're wiping your butt or whatever you're doing. Log on at 8 o'clock. Set your alarms, everybody. This is filthy dirty, gang. We have to be involved, whether we like it or not. You all have to be involved. Set your alarms for 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's the link right there. Save that link. If you don't have it, please, gang, you don't... I can't even emphasize this enough, gang. This is straight filth. I hope that this gets shared everywhere, and I hope the whole industry, like, I can't believe Hansen said that. You know, I'm just telling you the truth, gang. If you haven't watched it, you get the afternoon to watch it, or you're going to get to watch it tomorrow. Here's how it's going to go down tomorrow, Bill. We're going to all be on there at 8 o'clock in the morning. Heaven forbid they run this up the flagpole today and we get a chance to be on it. We're going to play it by ear, and we're going to see when our time comes to be actually involved in this. And now if everything's decided before lunchtime, we will go live tomorrow. Bill, myself, Al, Justin, Pablo, Sonny, everybody that's involved in your saltwater guide will be with you tomorrow. If this thing goes off and everything's done it before noon, then we will come on here and we will all wrap it up, what we saw, what we felt, what we thought happened, so that you can all understand where we're at. We'll let you all be part of this show tomorrow. If we're still sitting on hold waiting for our opportunity to talk, we won't have this show tomorrow. The only thing that matters to me right now is trying to save this fishery, which is recreational fishing in the state of California. You can take out the word sand bass, gang. That's not what we're up against here. We're up against people that want to take away recreational fishing in the state of California. Go ahead, Bill.
Phew! So I know that you guys have a little trouble getting to their site. Surprises no one. So the easiest way also to do it is just go to Google, type in California Fish and Game Commission meetings. California Fish and Game Commission meetings. It'll take you right to their page. It shows 2026 meetings, 2025, 2024, etc. Click on 2025. The second one down, it's got 3 links in it. Click the second link. It'll take you right to the page that tells you how to join. And you can either watch it by Zoom or click and watch it directly on their closed circuit feed there. So Google.
Okay, there you go.
California Fish and Game Commission.
The QR code's fixed. That one works. Okay. That one
Perfect,
that I just put up, changed it out. You're right. The other one wasn't working. This one's working. Okay. I apologize from the bottom of my heart. They're playing this game. They're filthy, gang. They're filthy. So go ahead, Bill.
So Dave, Dave, I just wanted to ask you, did you notice, and like I've been watching these meetings for 30 years, but attentively for 10 years. But every speaker today, so they were talking about like a brain wasting disease for elk and deer, which we have here in Colorado also, and other places in the West it's common, and other things. And all of the speakers who got up and spoke, who were not like, hey, you're the Messiah, do whatever you want to do, the ones who got up and said something reasonable, every single one of them today, and many of them, not everyone, in the past, have said, please do not make a decision until you have the correct science and information from experts that will allow you to make the correct decision. Now, when you've got everybody who stand up and says that, it's got to make you wonder if they have ever had the correct information, the most recent science and all that. So that was one thing I noticed today, and I think we'll obviously see that tomorrow over and over again about the science versus the decision.
Right, and we all know there's no science involved. We all know that they stole all the money that they were going to use for science to do whatever other garbage they wanted to do, but they don't want to spend any of the money that they're taking from us on what they're supposed to spend it on. As we're seeing, as they start to open up the books in the White House and show us, the last thing that they're doing with our tax money is spending it on what they're supposed to spend it on. But as you guys watch this meeting, you're going to start to understand what Bill and I have been telling you for the last 2 years. It is some of the most filthiest stuff you've ever seen. And to stand up there and teach us about diverse DEI, where the president of the United States just said he's going to abolish that program, and then these people in the state of California are telling you that we're not going to follow the president of the United States. We're going to do our own thing. Well, I sure hope that Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk are watching these people, because with the swipe of a pen, he can take away all their funding. So I hope he's watching, because these people are sharing the wrong thing. If your children are watching and these people are teaching them that they don't need to follow law, that's pretty incredible to put that out there, right, Bill?
Oh, it's just, the thing that I don't understand, especially over the last like 5 years, is that the commission is called the Fish and Game Commission. Okay. They're not the Marijuana Commission. Okay. And if you notice that today, they talked all about their marijuana enforcement while they're not down in the surf making sure people have licenses. So that's confusing. And then they talk about this DEI and the history of this and that, which has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with making our oceans better. And they're wasting our time with that. Why aren't they either making the meeting shorter or spending all of the time talking about our marine environment and how to make, a healthy biomass? It throws me off every time. And as I told you, Dave, 4 years ago, they would spend almost the entire meeting on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So,
One of you,
I don't know what to tell you.
You or Al, one of you have the meeting on in the background. I can hear it going through. So
It's me.
okay, well, turn the volume down on the meeting.
I'm playing catch up.
All right. Well, you catch the hell up all you want. But
You're not missing anything.
okay, so listen, gang. It's Okuma Wednesday. We always talk about some great Okuma products. Okuma is a huge sponsor of your Saltwater Guide. I've been with them for over 10 years. Any of the videos you see, except the one I made on Al's bow of his boat with the surface iron, they all show me fishing with this product, the Okuma rods, the Okuma reels. Bill uses them. Right now, this reel is an incredible reel. The Komodo series reels, I have lots of videos of me catching fish on it. I want to show you a really cool video that John Bretz and I made on the back of the Wild and Sack a few years ago in Dana Point Harbor to show you why the Komodo is called the Komodo SS series, because it's all stainless steel inside. Check out this cool little video that I have to show you, and then we'll get right back to our show. But you're going to save 20% on this product, which is what happened to our video. Where did it go?
I don't know, but that
hold on.
20%'s on there.
Yeah, the 20%'s there. The video's trying to load here. I don't know what's going on. Just stay with me for 1 second, gang. This is what happens when you're doing live. Here it is. Got it.
This is a reintroduction of the Komodo series. What we've done is we've upgraded the pinion gear from brass to stainless steel. Still features a stainless steel main gear. All new cosmetics that you'll see, there's no red accents like previous. Now it'll match any rod out there in the market that you use. The 350 will come with 6 high-performance ball bearings. The 450 will come with 7 high-performance ball bearings. The carbon fiber drag system outputs 25 pounds of drag pressure on 350 sizes. When you get to the 450, you'll output 30 pounds of drag pressure. Huge amount of drag for this type of reel. And when you get to the 350, we have a 6.4 to 1 gear ratio, 31 inches of line pickup. On the 450 size, we'll offer 2 different gear ratio options, a 6.3 to 1 gear ratio with 33.5 inches of line pickup, as well as a 7.1 to 1 gear ratio with 37.7. We're gonna offer 2 different handle options. We have the paddle handle like the one in my right hand, as well as a power handle in my left hand. We can offer that in every model, both the 350 and the 450.
All right, gang. And there's the QR code up on the screen. Do me a favor, gang. Hit that QR code. Go check out this reel. You're going to be blown away by the functionality, the way that this thing fits in your hand. Every part of it is just incredible. It feels like you got something that's made sturdy and durable and ready to go. And I've caught a zillion fish on. I've caught yellowfin tuna, bluefin tuna, calico bass, white sea bass on these Komodos. They stand up no matter what you're trying to accomplish. The Komodo series reel is incredible. And to offer you guys 20%, that is a phenomenal deal. If you're waiting for a great deal at the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival, you're not going to get a better deal. You may get the 20% off at the show, but you're not going to get better than 20% off on that reel. So take advantage of it right here on our show right now. Check that out, and hopefully you can catch some sand bass on that reel in June. But we'll see what happens. All right, go ahead, Bill.
Well, I don't know what we should talk about. We have so many different things to cover today in particular. Would you like to take a few minutes and talk about Moss Landing and what's been going on up north at the lithium battery factory?
Oh, man, that sounds like fun. Did they cover that at the meeting today? No. We learned about Black History Month and diversification.
Exactly.
No.
You know, I learned about this originally through a small throwaway newspaper in Central California. Brent sent me a great video the other day of some farmers, which we'll talk about. So when they decided that they were going to not tell you the truth, they decided that they were going to put these wind farms in. Well, the thing is when you have a wind farm, it's not like gas, like you have a power plant and it's a nighttime and you don't need any energy, you just turn it off. But when you have a wind farm or solar panel, you have to store it somewhere. So where do you store it? Just floating around out there? No, you store it in lithium batteries, supposedly. So they built Vistra Energy Company using not SpaceX, but I think Tesla batteries, obviously, built this facility in Moss Landing. So when the facility was first built in September 4th of 2021, so about 4 years ago, a fire starts at the Vista Battery Storage Plant in Moss Landing. 1,500 people are evacuated. Schools are closed. Highway 1 is closed. The batteries had not been energized yet, but once they had all been put in the building together and then hooked up, they overheated and it started on fire. They got it out. After they did that, the facility was inspected by the Morro Bay fire chief, who is now Steve Knuckles, who is now retired, who said, quote unquote, that he was impressed with its fire suppression system. Okay, so this already started on fire, was smoking and burning, not completely out of control yet, but they got it under control. Remember, with a lithium fire, you can't put water on it. So you really have to let it burn out for it to go out. So the fire department went in afterwards. They said, hey, everything looks great. There's nothing to really worry about. January 16th, 2025, 1 month ago, less than 1 month ago, huge fire at the Vistra battery storage plant in Moss Landing, burns for 2 days. Thousands evacuated. Once again, Highway 1 closed. The Environmental Protection Agency comes out the next day, and all of the people who live around there said, I'm really worried about this. These are just lithium batteries. We don't know anything about them. They're burning like crazy out there. Is there anything dangerous with the smoke? The Environmental Protection Agency comes out and says, the fumes that burned during the fire and the remaining smoke was not hazardous to the public. County officials reiterated that message, attributing the recent quote-unquote moderate air quality to being the same as numerous fires in homes during the winter season. So they didn't say there's any problem at all with them burning. Well, guess what? A few other people came out after that, and this is what happened. So the city got thousands of phone calls from the farmers around the area who had worries about this. And the city said to them, we remain fairly confident that there is no adverse impact associated with emissions from the plant farm. We didn't even do a chemical test or inspection on that because we found that it would be quote unquote pretty exhaustive and expensive to do so. So don't worry, people living out there with the smoke going over you. January 27th, 11 days after the fire begins, San Jose State University finds high levels of toxic metals in tests that they did around the Elkhorn Slough, just 1 mile away. The university has studied the air, water, and soil at the slough for more than 10 years, and they found that for the first time, nickel, cobalt, and manganese in the soil, all found in lithium batteries, were 1,000 times the normal level in the soil layer around the slough, less than 1 mile away. So what happens? The farmers come out for a public meeting in Moss Landing. And they say, what testing is there going to be? What are you going to do? And they basically say, well, we're looking into it. And the farmers say, this same thing that has happened in India with the lithium batteries going on fire and creating this big smoke cloud. This was years ago. It polluted for like 50 miles in circumference around it, the area. And what they found is that the Indian people, after about 8 to 10 years, began to get forms of cancer, all kinds of breathing diseases and issues that they had as a result of this. So there's a video on YouTube. You can see the farmers. They're of all ages, from young farmers in the Central Valley to people that are my age out there, saying that they're really worried about this because what will happen is all of the vegetation in Central Valley, all the lettuce, broccoli, all that, these heavy metals will go into that. And then you and I as consumers, whether we're in California, Colorado, New York, or in Europe, will be ingesting these heavy metals, which in the long run may contribute to our demise. So that is just one example of how the truth has not been told to you and how you really need to study things to get a really good bearing on what the truth is.
And is there, I got two, first I want to say this, then I'm going to ask this question. Gang, what Bill and Al and I are talking about is being revealed in this meeting today. If you want to go watch it, don't believe me. Do not believe Captain Dave Hansen. Don't believe me. I've been telling you about this meeting was coming up for the last 2.5 months, and I told you all that you were going to get to see what goes on behind the door, and that they have it. It's open for all of us. The QR code's up there on the screen. Go look and tell me if you can't see what's really going on, if all they're telling you is lies. And then, Bill, I have a question for you. Is Moss Landing close to any large bodies of water?
Moss Landing is sandwiched between Santa Cruz and probably one of the greatest marine aquariums in the world. And it's right on the water. I mean, it is no more where the plant was probably, I think, less than a mile from the water. So yes. I mean, it's sandwiched between two big central.
Don't you find that rather odd, Al, that they would put it next to the ocean? the Pacific Ocean, put that scummy plant on some of the most valuable land in the world, and they built a battery storage plant next to the Pacific Ocean. But one thing you have to remember is the only thing that's going to save the planet is you and I not taking our grandkids sand bass fishing
Yeah,
out.
but they can put a plant within walking distance, within steps away from the beautiful ocean that's going to harm all the fish that they're saying we can't catch. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, what I wanted to say today, I should have, and I kicked myself in the butt when we had that couple of minutes this morning, and they hit me off guard because I didn't think we were going to get to talk. And then the next thing I know, that one lady that hates America, she got to talk, and then Jamie Dimon got to talk right after her, which was great because Jamie Dimon's super intelligent, and she had a lot of really smart things to say to combat what that America hater was talking about. But the sad thing is more fish are going to die tonight and tomorrow in Santa Monica Bay than if we gathered every human being on the planet Earth together and took them fishing in Santa Monica Bay. We could not kill the amount of fish that are going to be killed tonight and tomorrow by the runoff from the Palisades fire of all that toxic waste that's going to run into Santa Monica Bay. And you don't hear a word about it. There's not a word being said about it. The only thing that's affecting the ocean is Captain Al Clowers taking his grandkids fishing in San Diego Bay. You are, Al,
I'm the
devil.
problem.
You are. If you guys listen to this meeting today, you'll find out that I'm not blowing smoke up your butt, gang, and I'm not. The gloves are off. I'm tired of playing the game. I'm tired of listening to these old timers that have been doing this forever, trying to help us save fishing. It doesn't work anymore, guys. Social media, awareness, making the people aware of this corruption at the highest level. And this is so corrupt. Like Bill Varney was saying, the president comes rolling in there with her Starbucks cup of coffee with her plastic lid on it and her plastic straw, comes rolling in there and going to tell us all about history. Going to give us a hit. Ma'am.
2 hours late. 2 hours late,
need
by the way.
Well, she's on time. She's getting, what is she getting, $1,000 a meeting to get paid? Come on now. It's okay. It's all good, bro.
Paid out from our taxpayers' dollars. It's unbelievable.
Yep, it's pretty sad. You take away, that's the thing that Don Brockman was talking about the other day. We thought for the longest time that they were getting paid by the fishing license money. We kind of thought that's what, but it's been exposed that they're not. They are getting paid by the federal government. The fish and game licensing for your hunting tags or your fishing licenses, that has no relevance on it. That's why they don't care. That's why they have no, I don't know if you remember the guy that was talking about the white sturgeon. Bill, you were listening to that and how they go right back to the zero economic impact.
Exactly. Exactly.
They're like, how do you know
Really?
that you haven't sold more fishing licenses? How do you know? It's like, well, we don't have participation like we had before. Well, that doesn't mean you didn't sell. Well, it does. It means 100% we didn't sell more licenses, but okay, we'll play the game with you. And then he had to go, the guy was super intelligent. He had to go back and backpedal a minute because they were just ganging up on him. And he had to say, you're right. We don't really have that number and we won't have it till December 31st. Now, he knows for a fact the numbers.
It's like you open up Western Outdoor.
It's just
you open up Western Outdoor News, you guys, and there are ads in there for guides in the San Francisco Bay for sturgeon fishing. There's numerous articles about guides and their clients catching sturgeon. How does that have no economic effect? And the thing is like, yeah, it's not like letting go 40,000 employees somewhere. But that one person that you're letting go now because they can't do that anymore, no longer has a way to feed their family or make money to pay their rent. Or like, do we care about these people? They talk about diversity, inclusion, equity. What about that person who's now losing their job and not being able to support their family? Does anybody care about that person? I mean, it's interesting. If you went back years ago when there were some reasonable people making decisions out there, they said, this is what we want to do. We want to get rid of the deep set, the gill net gear, near shore gill nets. And they said, we're going to get rid of those. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide a fund for the next 3 years for the commercial anglers with licenses to transition into a clean new way of making a living. These people, they're just like, oh, too bad, we're cutting you off.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's
crazy, Al.
similar to
Come
what's
on,
going to
man.
happen if the worst happens with this new thing that's on the table with the sand bass. It's going to affect a lot of families and a lot of businesses. And where's our fund? You know?
No, it's not. I read page 9. It says it's going to have 0 economic impact, Al. You don't know what you're talking about. These people that are getting paid by the federal government, they know way more about this than you that's trying to make a living fishing. You don't know what you're talking about, Al. You can go down and get a job at McDonald's if this fishing thing doesn't work out for you, god dang it.
Well, you know, this is like that story I told about CCA, where when President Trump was elected the first time, they got a meeting with the Commerce Secretary, and they said, you know, this redfish closure, we have like normally a 53-day open, but now you're only going to allow us to have 3 days, and it's really going to hurt us. It's going to hurt everybody. The very first question that was asked is, what is the economic impact? They didn't say like, hey, you're taking your rights away, or hey, you don't have a chance to catch fish anymore. The very first thing that President Trump asked his representative, the Commerce Secretary, asked is, how is this economically going to affect the state of Florida? And the person who was there, one of them was the head of the boat building association of the United States. He said, we're immediately going to have to let go 6,000 employees. And they said, no. We're not even going to talk about the environment or anything like that. We're going to look at the economy and people first and then build from there on. And that's the last thing they seem to look at here, Dave and Al, is you look at their numbers and they say, oh, it has no economic effect. Like you can make one phone call to a tackle shop, forget the landings and people who eat them and all that, and say, how much less tackle are you going to sell if you can't go bass fishing anymore? And they're going to say, like a quarter of our shop is bass stuff.
Right, 40%.
Well, here's something no one talks about. My father brought this up during the MPA process when that all happened. Something that everyone's missing out on. When you get up in the morning to take your grandkids fishing, Al, you're on your way. You're going to the Ma and Pa donut shop. Right? The grandkids all want some donuts. They're going fishing. So you're going and they're there at 4 o'clock or 3:30 in the morning making donuts so that the grandkids have donuts and coffee, and you and I pull in there and we spend $25-$30 on donuts and coffee for the grandkids, and then we go burn rubber and go down to the beach and launch the boat and go fishing. Those Ma and Pa donut shops will no longer exist. How is that not? Now, those people had nothing to do with fishing. So if these fish and wildlife commissioners were looking at this, they would go, well, that's a donut shop. What? And this is the mentality. That's a donut shop. It has nothing to do with fishing. It has everything to do with fishing. Absolutely. I was thinking I'm trying to put together my 1 minute that I get to speak, and I want to make it as eloquent and as comprehensive and smart, and I want to touch all the things. And I thought the donut shop thing was so important because when I picked up when me and my boys would go fishing, and they're 32 and 30 now, that was part of the deal in the morning. They knew if we were going fishing, Al, we were going to the donut shop.
Man. That's a big deal right there.
So that all matters, gang, no matter what kind of lies they're telling you at this commission meeting. They're not telling the truth by any stretch of the imagination. And one thing you all have to remember, These people are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to decide what you get to
Hey,
do.
and if you got your stuff together the day before, you took the grandkids down to the taco shop or to a sporting goods store like Dick's or wherever, and you walked through the aisles and you grabbed a couple handfuls of stuff. You walked out of there spending $100. You know.
So when you think there's no even those people that are on our side 100%, I believe in my heart they're getting, as they listen to the show, Bill, and they're like, wow, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of the mom and pa donut shop. But the mom and pa donut shop is super important to us as fishermen. I don't care if you're in Texas, Wyoming, New York, or Southern California. You're hitting that coffee shop and that donut shop in the morning, especially with the grandkids. It's like part of the deal. It's part of the whole thing. My kids can tell you they knew they wanted a maple bar, a French curler, or a jelly-filled donut. They would lay in the car. Normally they'd be asleep, but they knew Dad was going to stop and get his coffee and grab the donut. Now, I could have made coffee at home, but that's not part of the deal. That's not part of taking the kids fishing. The whole thing, it's all just a giant thing. And we're going to do that. And then if you're Dana Landing, perfect example. If you're going there, I mean, what a great place for kids. You go in there, they got the delicatessen right there, Al. They make you a bitchin' breakfast sandwich. They have some donuts. The kids get to grab whatever sodas they want. All these places are going to be affected like you can't even comprehend, gang. So help us to understand. Tomorrow, when we get to our 1 minute, let's just pretend like today, they said there wasn't anybody online waiting. Me and Matt Ryan about had a heart attack, and Calico Chris, we were like, huh? No one's online. What do you mean no one's? We're here. The three of us are here. If the three of us are here, somebody else has to be here. And they're going, well, there's 6 people, so we're going to give you guys 3 minutes apiece. And then there's a deal that says if there's more than 15, we get 2 minutes. If there's more than 30, we're only going to get 1 minute. So I'm planning on you all showing up tomorrow, and I'm going to get my 1 minute. Now, if I get 3 minutes, that's because you guys are all too lazy to get on here and help us. So I don't want 3 minutes. I want 1 minute. And I want us all to get 1 minute. And I want 30,000 1-minute people on there. But we're just trying to expose the hypocrisy here, the lies, the cheating, the whole thing that's going on, gang. We're just trying to expose it. That's why Elliot and I put together all this QR codes and the emails we sent out and everything, so you guys could be involved in this meeting today, so you can see what and I hope, Bill, that you're wrong and we get to do this meeting tomorrow. I hope they don't push this agenda through today and we're all standing there. First of all, we're all going to be scrambling to get online when they say, okay, we're going to start the sample. We're going to be like, what? Now? Come on.
Yeah,
but we'll jump in there.
And at the speed they're going today, if it doesn't happen today, it looks like it'll be in the morning tomorrow rather than the afternoon. So everybody just needs to get on first thing and wait for their turn or just be on, period.
Be on. Because you don't have to participate, but you want to be there. The numbers are the numbers. You don't want to talk, that's fine, but please log on. Please log on, because the numbers are the numbers. The numbers are what will make a difference if they see enough of us on there. Now, Matt, you're right. We don't know if they're going to recognize that there's 30, or we don't know if we can. The thing, Bill, is really strange. We can't see who's on.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. We're not allowed to see who's on, which is kind of scummy. That's kind of a scummy thing, because that's not transparency by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not transparent. I mean, you go on your Zoom, a Zoom meeting, and you can see all the people that are on there, whether their camera's on or not. The time you can is when they're using their phone and it's not identified. But other than that, you're right. So I know today several times she said there's no comments. Nobody's in line to make a comment. And I was really surprised that hunters and other people who normally are very vociferous and are on there. We're not there. So I don't know if their system's messing up or this is on purpose or whatever it is. But what we need to do once again is we need to get all their funding taken away, the commissioners dismissed, and then there be an elected board that's made up of commercial angler, recreational angler, environmentalist, a fair and equitable board to be able to make decisions and be transparent. Like Dave and Al, can you email me the science they used on the barred sand bass right now?
Oh yeah, it's going to come right to you right now.
Do you know where
you should have
do you know where it is?
Yeah, I just sent it to you.
Okay, that's a good example. This is stuff I search around for hours for and waste time, and you can't find it. And then they might cite a scientific research done a decade ago.
Yeah, it's out of control.
Yeah.
Hey, just for an example, the city of San Diego had a meeting the other night about the San Diego City Lakes budgets, and I was on there, prepped myself, and they were only allowing one minute, but there was a bunch of other stuff on their agenda. Make a long story short, at the end of the meeting, there was probably 25 people on there from the lakes. At the end of the meeting, they allotted one person to speak out of those 25. One. So, they do what they want to do, as you guys know. So even during the meeting, who knows who's going to be able to talk and who's not, and what's going to happen, Hopefully they let us talk.
Yeah, that would be cool to be a part of, because they promised us we could be a part of the decision making, at least have
some input,
be able to talk,
some live input.
Well,
but like
in a democracy, we vote for people who represent us as a group. When you have unelected bureaucrats put into this position as commissioners, they're not elected by anybody, and the only person they're beholden to is the governor who put them in that position. So no, Tim, there's no appeal to things like this. They make a decision based on what they feel, and that's how it goes. And the only way you can appeal is to repeal them.
Wow.
And you got to just hope that we're making enough noise. And I know I'm just a little podcaster and I don't really have the outreach of a Theo Vaughn or a Joe Rogan, but I have enough people that watch us that do have that hopefully this gets back to the powers that be and they take a good hard look at this bureaucracy that's going on in the state of California, because it is absolute filth when you watch this meeting. I mean, Matt, you're a very good human being and you're a very, very well-spoken person, and you want to rip the phone off the wall. You want to throw your TV through the window. You're so pissed right now, and I understand. I get it. I've been watching this for so long. We spent so much of our own personal time and money with this MPA that happened, gang. And it was so unbelievable, because that was the first time I got exposed to this garbage. And I'm the most, like I said with Michael yesterday, I'm the most unpolitical human being on the planet. But my dad would say, you got to go to these meetings. You got to see what's going on, David. You got a big mouth. I want you to be out there telling everybody what's going on. And I'm like, okay, Dad, I'll go with you. And Kelly and I, we went to the meeting, and we watched them, and they drew up, gang, I'm telling you the truth. They drew up these 3 maps, and they let all of us look at the maps. And they told us that we could pick one of the 3 maps that would best work for our businesses. So they were telling us then there was no economic impact on that either, but my father shut that bullshit down right away. And then we all sat around and we all got really excited about map number 3. And we were like, we can all work with map number. We knew we were going to lose part of the California coast. We didn't know why, because they can't explain to us why, but we knew we were going to lose it because they're running the show and we're just allowed to give them our money. And then the day they made the decision, out came map number 4 that none of us had ever heard about, seen, or knew anything about. And it just went through. And I was like, what did we waste all this time for? Then they said 5 years we're going to reevaluate these MPAs, Bill. In 5 years. And so we all waited. And this had a giant economic impact on the industry. Whether you all believe it or not, I'm just telling you the truth. So in 5 years, we're all ready. We go to this big old meeting in Dana Point. We're all there. We're sitting there. And a guy gets up, and we're listening to this bureaucratic baloney. And this guy gets up and he says, I couldn't even believe it, and people are like listening, and they think that the guy actually knows what he's talking about. And he says, I have studies that show that the water, now this will blow your mind, the water inside the MPAs is cleaner than the water outside the MPAs. And I couldn't take it anymore. I just stood up in the middle of the meeting. I spun around. I looked at all I'm sorry. You guys all know me. My mouth is huge, and I stood up in the meeting. I was in the LA Times. I was on the news. I stood up in the middle of the meeting, spun around, out of order. And I said, that's impossible. That can't be. And they're like, why? And I said, well, there's this thing called current. And current, the water in the MLP will go into the open areas, and then it'll flow back into the MPA. Then it'll flow out, and it'll flow back in, and it'll flow out. The tide will go in, the tide will go out. The water moves, gang. They didn't build a wall around these MPAs. I said, that's the biggest lie. And they said, sir, you're out of line. I said, okay. Then they kept going, Bill, for a few more minutes. And then I just stood up. I couldn't take it anymore. And I said, okay, the only reason all of us are here, and there was like 300 of us, I said, we just want to know, are you going to open this back up? That's why we're all here on our time. Every one of us were tired. If you looked at the audience, all the captains, we were dead ass tired. We've all been working every day. We're tired, and we took time away from our families, and we went into this meeting, and we all sat in there to wait for them to tell us they were going to open it up again. But we were all waiting, and I couldn't take it anymore because I was so damn tired. And I just said, gang, we need to know, when are you opening this again? And the commissioner stood up and said, as long as there's structure in the MPAs, we will never open them. And I was like, good, that's all I need to hear. I said, I'm out. I'm not going to any more of these meetings because it's all a bunch of bullshit. They're getting paid to go to the meeting. We're not. Understand that. That's why they love to have meetings. Like Bill said, the president gets $1,000 a meeting. And she could show up 2 hours late to the meeting. She still gets her $1,000 for the day. Tomorrow she's going to get another $1,000 to go to the meeting. We're not going to get a penny. My whole day is going to be wrapped around that meeting tomorrow. My whole day is going to be hanging on every word they say so I can bring it to my masses and tell everybody what's going on. But I'm sorry. I'm so wound up. Kelly keeps telling me, you got to calm down. I can't. This is so unbelievable.
Really, yeah. It really is, And another thing, Dave, that you haven't mentioned yet is that in the meeting today, just kind of slipped in there, kind of right in the middle, that they could just like go over it like super quick and just move on to the next thing. No public comment, none of that. Was the fact that they said that they're now considering, and in the next meeting they'll make a decision, I presume, on having a slot limit for striped bass in California between 18 and 30 inches. So here you have an invasive fish they want to protect, and then the things are everywhere. You can catch them down at the wall in National City between Mexico and Tijuana. You can catch them up in San Francisco, all the way up the coast to Oregon. They're everywhere, and now they want to have a size limit on it. And we talked about this before too, and Al knows this too. Over the years, there's been more and more striper that we've seen along the California coast. And back in the earlier days when we'd see them, they were much smaller. Well, each year they've progressed to get bigger and bigger. Obviously, their biomass as individuals is growing. So now a lot of the fish that are taken from Santa Barbara North are over 30 inches. And they're saying, okay, all you up there. And a lot of those folks up there eat those fish. And they go fishing for subsistence reasons. And now they're telling them, we're going to take that away from you. No discussion, no nothing. And they just throw it out there.
But it's all Captain Al's fault because his deckhand caught those 2 striped bass at his dock. That's your fault, Al.
Exactly.
Yeah, these guys and gals are complete ludicrous. It's out of control.
It really is. You know, do you know why Hugh Hefner chose a rabbit?
Nope.
Because a rabbit is a prolific, spawner, a prolific lover. Well, that's exactly what striper are. Striper are one of the most prolific animals for reproducing fish anywhere found, because they can do it both in freshwater and saltwater. So they're just like everywhere. If you've ever there are so many in Lake Mead that you could literally in April walk on them out there. There's so many of them.
Right.
And they're saying, hey, they're endangered, and there needs to be a slot limit. Where in the world is the evidence of that? Well, there's all this evidence that they've been eating salmon for decades.
I just got a text message that the meetings have been canceled for the rest of the day today.
Yeah, it's been off on my phone for a while now.
I don't know if it's what's
It says
going
it's
on
on a
here,
lunch break
they're on
until
lunch break
1:05. Till 1:05.
Yeah.
And they're
All
getting
right. Well,
paid,
here's-
and they're at the donut shop right now.
yeah, but it has no financial.
Hey, Dave, can I mention something about the donut shop? Of all things, I love donuts.
Yeah.
You really hit the nail on the head there. My buddy, 25 years, almost every weekend, either one day or both days, we'd go surf fishing. We would always go to the local donut shop and get donuts and coffee. And I'm talking 25 years, probably 40 weekends a year we do that. Plus the gas we'd put in our car, the tackle we'd buy, and the bait we might buy in addition to the stuff we could catch at the beach. So when you close down the sand bass or the grunion or whatever is going to be the thing tomorrow, the perch, not only hurting the subsistence anglers, the anglers who are catching fish and consuming it home so they have food for their family and their kids, but also all of the small businesses that you patronize when you're on the way to and from going to the beach or your boat or the islands or long range fishing, all of those things, they're all affected.
Bill Morris, are you saying they canceled the meeting tomorrow? Bill, please. You're getting tidbits. I need every single line item of what you're talking about. You can't just say tomorrow's meeting. I don't know what that means. Tomorrow's meeting, what? And then you sent me this text message that Big Tent was canceled, Habitat was canceled, Fish Committee was canceled, Wildlife Committee was canceled. Please, somebody tell me what's going on here. It's kind of important for us to know what's really going on. I can't take credit for the coffee shop thing, Bill. I wish I could, but we got to chalk that one up to my father. He always was thinking of every angle when he was fighting these scumbags. He's like, David, the people that are going to get hurt the worst are the mom and pop coffee shops and donut shops, and they're not talking about that. Another group that's going to get, not that I'm privileged by any sense of the imagination, but the underprivileged neighborhoods of California, they're going to get hammered. The sand bass, we had a guy on the show last Tuesday that said, I don't really need 4. I don't give a shit what you need. Okay? The guy with the 6 kids that's working every day and can't afford a goddamn egg, he needs 10 to feed his family. So those of you that are like, well, I don't even like sand bass, so I don't care what you like, God damn it. Listen to me. You can't take these fish, you can't keep taking these fish from us and then saying, well, who needs the guy that can't afford to buy an egg? He needs 10 for his family so they can eat this week. A lot of families, their whole weekend revolves around going down to the pier and going fishing. And they take their kids and their grandkids and their uncles and their cousins and their aunts. Why do they bring all those people?
Stop by Morro Bay.
So they can all catch.
Stop by Mission
So they
Bay.
can have their limit.
Go look in Mission Bay on a weekend. How many families are there?
Yeah. And they're not dragging all those people down there just because they're dragging them down there because they need that sustenance to take home so they can feed the family for the week. So when you are sitting in your castle saying, well, who needs 10 sand bass? Who needs 5 sand bass? Who needs 1? It's none of your business. There's billions of them. It's none of your business if who needs them. That's the most liberal thinking I've ever heard of in my life. So if you're running on that and you're saying who needs them, well, you're living in a fantasy world and you don't know what's really going on out in the big O world. And this sand bass is a white meat fish. This sand bass is easily caught by everybody, and it's easily eaten, and it feeds people, and it's sustainable because there's billions of them, and they've never been commercially fished. There's no commercial pressure on this fish. So you're taking from the underprivileged neighborhoods, you're taking the fish away from them because you don't believe that anybody should have 5. I heard this in meetings in the last 2 weeks, Bill. That's why I'm talking about. There are people that are like, I'm cool with giving them another fish.
Exactly. And
why? There's no science.
well, not only that.
Why are you saying
Yeah.
that?
Well, not only that, Dave, but here is a really good example who will bring it to light for everybody. So you know how they always talk about how they want to get rid of the AR-15 gun, that it's a military style semi-automatic gun. It's a bad gun. Okay. I have a 30-06 that I use for hunting for elk. It'll blow a hole in you this big. Okay. It's as lethal as any other gun is. But the reason they want to take the AR-15 away is if they can take it away, if they can demonize it and take it away, then their next step is saying, well, you don't need a .357 Magnum. That's a handgun, and it's only used for killing. It allows them to get their foot in the door. This is exactly what they've done in our fishing world. Their foot in the door to take one thing away, which gives them license to take other things away. And that's why they say, like, oh, we want to limit it. And that's why it's so bad for you to say, well, they want 1 to 5, and I'm okay with 3, but I used to have 5, but I'm okay with giving away 2 more to have 3, because that's not their point. It's once they get the foot in the door, then they'll take it all away. And that's exactly what they've done with guns, that's their goal with guns. And that's the same exact scenario they use in the fishing world. Let's take one thing away, tell everybody what a great job we did and what the biomass is doing now because we took it away, which gives us now the right to take something else away. How could they ever take grunion away? How could they ever think that grunion population is being affected at all by human beings? Here is a fish that lives 6 years, that comes out of the water 2 to 3 times a year for hours. How many fish do you know who can come out of the water for hours and go back in and live 6 more years? Are you telling me that I'm killing them off? It's ridiculous. So anyway, it just gave them the chance, the license, to take other things away because they made you feel warm and fuzzy about the stuff they already took.
Yeah, exactly, Captain Al, right? When your grandkids go fishing, they are so excited about going fishing and they want to know if that fish is legal, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the questions. Like my sister
measure
said,
it, they say.
I was-
Can we measure it?
yeah,
Can we weigh it? Can we keep it? Can we eat it? All those
Right.
things happen every time
And
I take them.
every time they catch one, the same thing happens when we take the Fish for Life kids out, and the adults. They're adults and their children that are disabled, and you think, oh well, they don't care. Yeah, they do. The first when they hook it, they go, "Is it legal?" Now, if it doesn't matter to you, that's fine. It doesn't need to matter to you. We don't care, but it matters to the rest of us. And don't be a conservative and then talk like a liberal, because if you're really a honest to God conservative, you shouldn't give a crap about what I care about. You shouldn't, because I don't care about what you care about. But when it starts to affect my grandkids, I got to stand up. So that's the biggest difference between a conservative and a liberal. You guys want to change what we're doing, what I'm eating tonight. When you tell me I only need 3, how do you know how many people live in my house? How many? That'd be like telling Captain Al, your grandkids went fishing today. They only need 1. What are you talking about? How do you know? His grandkids love to eat fish. They want to eat fish for breakfast, lunch,
Just
and
the way the
dinner.
economy is, I find myself eating fish more days a week now.
Me too.
You know?
Me too. Now, Al, let me ask you a question, and I've noticed this in children my whole life. So when we bring my buddy's kid, my kid catches a fish and he brings it on the boat and he wants to touch it and stuff like that. If I go to take it off the hook and let it go, he always asks me why I don't keep it. And I say, well, we're putting it back so it can get bigger and you can catch it when it's bigger down the line. I have met every kid I have ever met and take fishing in my life has said that they wanted to keep what they caught and eat it. I have not had one single kid who said, let me take it off the hook and put it back in the water because it's better for the environment. I think human beings are born that way, of wanting to harvest what the Lord gave them on their planet. And
Well,
for
you
them
know,
to, I mean, seriously, to let it go, sometimes they look at me and are mad at me.
let's catch a bigger one so we can keep it. That's what my grandkids say. But listen, so if when they do keep them, it's cool because they get to watch them, and put them in. It depends what kind of fish it is. In the bay, if the fish are keepers, or at the lake, I put them in a live well, right? So they're keeping an eye on them all day. It gives them things to do in between fishing, and then when you get home, my grandkids are always. I try to bump them up every month to another level, and the level that the 2 oldest ones are at now is they take that fish, they bring it home, we put it on ice, then we get the fillet board out at the house, have a big table with a bunch of sharp knives, and then I take them to the fillet table. And now I'm teaching them how to fillet fish, so it goes full tilt, all the way around, so when a kid catches a fish, especially a sand bass, and he has to let it go, it shuts down a lot of education right there.
Mm-mm. Absolutely. I mean, that's a reason that so many of us that are anglers over our lives are so involved in the environment, is because we were introduced to it as kids, and we realize, like, this is what's so funny about the whole ironic about it, is that, like, we want good fishing to continue because that's our passion and that's what we enjoy doing as a sport. Like if you're a football player and you played on a field that had potholes in it and everywhere, you would really love to have a nice field that had perfect grass on it, and you'd be willing to go out there and rake and take care of it so you had a great field to play your sport on. Well, that's the same with us in fishing. We don't want to ruin our environment. That's the last thing we're interested in. And the few
Absolutely.
idiots who do take more than they should, or things that are, by law they can't take and all that, is such a small percentage. I mean, like, think of the Garibaldi, which is the protected California fish. Those are everywhere. Did people just go out and catch and eat all those? No, of course they didn't, because we're environmentalists. We're more eyes and ears on the water than anybody else in the entire country, including the people who are paid to have the eyes and ears on the water.
Right. And adhering to limits is another part of the education. Hey, it's wide open. Look around. You got 10 fish on the deck. Hey, hold on a minute, kids. We got to make sure, we're sticking to the regulations. We can only have so many, I mean, it's a full-on educational process for the kids out there fishing.
All right, gang. Well, we're going to wrap this up. It's 1:09. That meeting's about to start again. It's going to start in a few minutes. And I want you all to go over there if you have the time. I know a lot of you have to go back to work. Listen, here's what's going to happen tomorrow. If they end the meeting before 12 o'clock, you'll see Captain Bill, you'll see Captain Al, you'll see Justin, you'll see Pablo. We'll all be on here. We'll be talking about the meeting, what we got out of it, what we think happened. And if you have the opportunity, go log on to it. If you're at work or you're out doing stuff, just go on through that QR code that we have up on the screen right now, and you can see what I'm talking about, and you can see what's going on, and it's going to enlighten you a lot, and you're going to go, wow, that guy, your saltwater guide, he's not lying. This is filthy. It's filthy, gang. It's so filthy, and most of us are watching what's going on with Doge and what's going on, and we're like, our jaws are hanging. We had no idea how deep the corruption was and how much of our money they were sending to foreign countries and how much they were wasting and the kickbacks and all that shit. And we're like, what the hell? Well, now you get to see it. Instead of hearing about it on the news channels, you watch this meeting. You'll get to see what we're talking about. And you'll get to go, wow. They have no idea that there's people going to be watching this that are going, huh? Because they're standing there on their little white towers, and they think they are just untouchable. They were talking crap about the president this morning. It's like, gang, you guys don't get it. You just don't get it. America has spoken. We're tired of it. Let's show everybody how tired of it we are. Let's all join this meeting right now. Let's watch this. Here they go. They're live. All right. See you guys. I'm going to go back on this.
Let's go get them.
Watch this.